just such a cruel, cruel, horrible thing to do, to decorate your head. Right? Here it is, with the life of an animal, taking his fur.
Hi everybody, good morning. What we are fighting against, but we have to at all times remember what we are fighting for.
Fire free NYC! Fire free NYC! Canada Goose has blood on their hands! Canada Goose has blood on their hands!
That is what's going to carry us on. That's what's going to lead us away from diving into pits of despair, which are all too common, understandably so, this time of the year, or just any day when you walk out on the street and see normalized violence and brutality. So, with that said, we are here today speaking of, as always, for innocent animals everywhere, which cannot represent themselves in this fashion because their voices have been taken from them. I have literature in my bag. Does anybody want to do leafleting? I'm going to ask offhand that the distancing we had right now was pretty good. We are all aware that COVID is increasing in cases and in numbers, and I have this off right now. Is there anybody who's uncomfortable with me having this off right now? Please be, okay. I get tested like once a week because my neighborhood is fucking atrocious. Testing, yeah. So I have more science in here, I have tons of literature. I also have some anti-fur pins if anybody wants. Is there anybody that wants to lead chants today? Matthew, anybody else? We're here as a team, as a collective. If you don't want to chant, that is absolutely fine. I'm talking right now, but anybody can be. And I hope that you all feel that way. I hope you feel like your input is valid, because it is. Your voices are valid. If anybody wants to take lead at any point, I am all for that. If you have a speak out, you want to get out, let's fucking go. I'm gonna ask though that while we are here as a collective, at all times we be mindful. We are not here to pick fights. We are not here to just let out rage. I don't know how many times I've had to turn away activists who come, oh, this week fucking sucked, I can't wait to yell at somebody. Well, guess what? You're not welcome here then. Because we don't need that. The animals don't need somebody who's just gonna fly off the cup in the name of animals. Is a bullshit excuse for yourself. And we have to be mindful continuously, and I know this isn't directed at anybody here. I love you all, and there's good reason for that, because you're lovable people. But when we represent a movement, every single thing that we do can be twisted and to change the dialogue from our objective. Our objective is animal liberation. Keep that in your hearts, keep compassion in your hearts, and we're going to come away with a better world. Is there anything else anybody wants to say? Any questions, comments? Did anybody want to grab this brand new beautiful thing, which just dried?
Like that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I also have a very large one. I have 3 or 4 volunteers for Fur is Dead. This is a very cool one if you want to especially be further away from people.
Fire free NYC!
Cool. Other than that, if you are going to lead chants, and if you wish to take off your mask for that, I'm going to ask that you either be across the street while doing it, or stand in the street or towards the street. So there's no way of twisting around maskless activists spitting on, because that shit happens. We know this happens. And so if you see me doing it, I'm giving you the disclaimer of that's why I'm gonna be in the street or have this down at that point. When I'm not leading, this will be up.
The fur trade is alive! How many animals have to die? Dog fur is not fashion! Where the hell is your compassion? Ethical down is alive! How many animals have to die?
Hello. I just feel it's very important to spread the message that wearing animals and torturing them to get their skin and their fur and their feathers is not acceptable. It's just not the way to do things. It's unnecessary, and most designers have either never sold fur or have stopped selling it, and it's about time Canada Goose does as well, and that's why I'm here.
This screams
Your fault.
shame, shame, shame on you!
Shame on you for what you do.
Shame, shame, shame on you!
Shame on you for what you do.
Not your feathers!
Not your fur.
Not your feathers!
Not your fur.
Not your feathers!
Not your fur.
I'm here because of those people over there. And they shouldn't be there. The animals belong in the wild where they were born, and these people shouldn't be wearing them.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands! Canada Goose has blood on his hands! Shame, shame, shame on you!
Shame on you for what you do.
Yeah, I'm here because Soho is empty right now, but the Canada Goose store has a line in front of it, which tells us that we need to be here to be a voice for the geese, for coyotes who are trapped or plucked and killed for vanity. We're going to keep coming back until the store stops selling these tortured animals as clothing.
Animal fur is not fashion!
Here because for the animals, I mean that's the first thing. But really, I'm here because I cannot believe in this day and age we're still having to be here, talking up for this atrocity, this horrible industry which uses animals, traps them, kills them, breeds them into existence so they can be tortured and killed, anally electrocuted, and all that. You would think that certainly in this day and age, in modern times, when we have so much information at our fingertips, that we wouldn't be doing these things, that we wouldn't be blithely going to a store to buy a coat that was made from unspeakable animal torture and killing. But yet people are lining up, like this is just one small example here at Canada Goose and Worcester Street. People are lining up, chomping at the bit to buy these horrible products. So that's why I'm here. In a nutshell, I'm here as one voice to say, stop the abuse, stop the atrocities. No one deserves this. No animal, no sentient being deserves to be treated this way for profit, for comfort, for style, for fashion, or any other so-called reason. So please join us if you're seeing me and hearing me. Please join us in ending this now. Thank you.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands! Canada Goose has blood on its hands! Dog fur is not fashion!
Where the hell is your compassion? Where the hell is your compassion? How many animals have to die? How many animals have to die? Shame on you for what you do.
Plunging them over the head like a pipe.
Shame on you for what you do.
Blood down. Encourage you to
Free NYC. Canada Goose has blood on its hands. Where the hell is your compassion? Where the hell is your compassion? Where the hell is your compassion? How many animals have to die? How many animals have to die? Shame on you for what you do! Shame on you for what you do! For free NYC! For free NYC! For trade, death trade!
This is literally a blood for money industry, and I think that in this day and age, we can do better, we must do better in terms of speaking up for the voiceless. This company, Canada Goose, is exploiting animals for profit in a most gross and extreme way, and people are not thinking through their purchases. They're not considering how the fur on their trimmed, which is not even keeping them warm, it's just there for vanity. We're not in the tundra. We don't need fur in this day and age. There are plenty of alternative products that aren't rooted in animal cruelty. So we're here speaking up for those that can't and trying to share what we know with the people who are shopping here at Canada Goose. Hopefully we'll plant some seeds and hopefully they'll make more ethical decisions.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands! Canada Goose has blood on its hands!
Their feathers!
Not ours!
Their skin!
Not ours!
Do you eat animals?
Of course not.
We're here to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. We're here to defend the defenseless, the vulnerable, the voiceless. We're here to educate people who are otherwise good, kind, decent people who may not be aware of what it is they're supporting, how it is they're being duped. We're here as much for them, to redeem them, as we are to help these defenseless animals and their needless suffering. That's why we're here today, and hopefully we'll make an impact.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands. The fur trade is alive. How many animals have to die?
I'm here because this has gone on way too long with this company, Canada Goose, ripping the feathers out of the geese and torturing dogs out in the wild and putting them into coats. This is ridiculous. It's got to be over, and it's got to be over now.
Shame, shame, shame on you.
Shame on you for what you do.
Shame, shame, shame on you.
Shame on you for what you do.
Fur trade, death trade.
Fur trade, death trade.
Fur trade, death trade.
Fur trade, death trade.
I don't like to see the cruelty, the way the animals are treated so cruelly by the fur trade. You know, some of them are skinned while they're still alive. That's like the most horrible, horrific part of it. Because they think it's faster, and they get more fur, I guess. Anal execution as well as skinning alive, and the gas. People should be more compassionate. We shouldn't have fur anymore. This is the 21st century, not the 19th century. It's not necessary. There's so many things that you can get that are just as warm as fur.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands. Fur trade, death trade. Fur trade, death trade. Fur trade, death trade. Fur trade, death trade. Animal fur is not fashion. Where the hell is your compassion? Dog fur is not fashion. Where the hell is your compassion?
I'm here for the animals who can't speak for themselves and to see finally the death of the fur industry. And down.
How many animals have to die?
Because it's your money. Your fault. Your greed. Your fault. Your silence. Your fault.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands.
Canada Goose has blood on its hands.
Goose down is not fashion.
Where the hell is your compassion?
Goose down is not fashion.
Where the hell is your compassion?
Okay, I'm here because I'm against animal cruelty. They are animals and they have the right to live like the same like us. We don't have the right to kill them. They have the right to live and we have to live in peace and leave it alone. It's not right. It's not right.
Fur trade, death trade. Animal fur is not fashion. Dog fur is not fashion.
Goose down is not fashion.
Where the
Where is your compassion?
The fur trade is alive.
How many animals have to die? I'm here because nobody else is going to speak up for the animals, and people need to wake up to the reality of what they're paying for. Sadly, most people don't know what they're paying for. So we're here to just raise awareness and speak up for those that have been silenced. Fur, I think it's more artificial. It's just for fashion, just for vanity, which makes it just slightly more cruel. People think it's for warmth, but it's not the only way to be warm. It's not our skin, right? If you're vegan, consider getting active, because just be vegan, that's great, but it's not enough. We have to speak up. If you're not vegan and you've considered it in the past, now is the time. It hasn't been easier. This is the easiest time to go vegan. There's so many options. Anything you can eat as a non-vegan, you can find a vegan version of. That's delicious and cruelty-free. If you're against the cruelty behind the fur industry, come here, get active, be heard. Everybody's on Facebook nowadays. They can just go on Facebook and find groups. They can just type vegan in and then the name of their state, meetups.
As a walking, talking billboard for normalized violence. Those of you online right now, be a better example for every single young person in your life. That is a moral obligation. And those of you laughing, those of you making jokes, a weak and obvious defense mechanism. Wake up, be a better person. Fur trade, death trade!
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 Fur trade, death trade.
Animal fur is not fashion!
Where the hell is your compassion?
Goose down is not fashion!
Where the hell is your compassion?
Goose
Where the hell is your compassion?
The fur trade is alive! Ethical fur is alive!
How many animals have to die?
Their blood!
Your fault!
Their screams!
Your fault!
Shame, shame, shame on you!
Shame on you for what you do!
Not your feathers!
Not your fur!
Not your feathers!
Not your fur!
Not your feathers!
Not your fur!
Fur free NYC! Fur free NYC!
Fur free NYC!
Fur free NYC!
Fur free NYC!
Canada Goose has blood on their heads! Canada Goose has blood on their heads!
Goose has blood on their hands.
Dog fur is not fashion! Ladies and gentlemen who are currently wearing fur trim Canada Goose, some of which are online right now, look it up yourself, including you who is pretending to be on their phone. You don't have somebody calling you, you're not that important. The dog draped around your neck, more than 99% genetically related to any dog you would find in someone's home. They could have produced puppies with them. That gentleman wearing a fur trim Canada Goose coat online, waiting to buy yet another one, responsible directly for dogs being shot in the head, having their fur in from their backs. Look it up right now. They can produce puppies with any of the dogs in your home. No different. Just as deserving of your love and respect. When you see somebody wearing it, they are brutalizing the same animals that are in your homes. If that doesn't make you mad, you're not paying attention. Wake up. Fur trade, death trade!
Fur trade, death trade!
Fur trade, death trade!
Fur trade, death trade!
It's not fashion!
Where the hell is your compassion?
How is your compassion? How many animals have to die? How many animals have to die?
Your fault! Your fault!
Shame on you for what you do!
Shame on you for what you do!
Not your fur!
We need to have compassion for all animals and not use them for food or clothes or shoes or any other purpose. There are plenty of alternatives to animals for everything we need in life as humans. I'm here to try to protect them from being killed for clothing, for stupid fashion. And I'm also a supporter of not killing them for food, which is why I'm wearing a Mercy for Animals mask.
How many animals have to die?
I've been vegan for 8 months. I became vegan because I didn't know how much I was contributing to animal exploitation and how much every dollar I spent was going towards harming animals, whether in a factory farm or for cosmetics or things like that. And I just didn't want to contribute to that anymore. And then I became an activist as well because I felt like other people needed to know the truth about what we're doing to animals. And it's been 8 months. I have never felt better. I have had so many benefits of going vegan, high energy, less lethargic, all kind of things, but also just eating such great food, like just getting everything that I need from fruits and vegetables. Lentils, I love couscous, barley, quinoa, whether it's celery root or radishes or you name it, I like it. I like all vegetables. I'm not raw, I cook. I do eat some processed vegan foods that are like cheeses and things like that, but I've been trying to wean out the processed foods as well. There's so many vegan recipes online. There's so many, like everywhere you look, there's vegan recipes. People are trying vegan recipes who aren't even vegan and are getting better results with those products because they're not so harmful and filled with chemicals.
What about the twin sisters? Amber, are they coming?
I've been vegan for 5 years, but I haven't eaten any animal meat in about 10 years. The reason I did it was just because I didn't want to contribute to any animal cruelty. That's why I'm vegan and that's why I've stayed vegan. You know who I watched a lot? Gary Yourofsky. He's probably my favorite activist, and if you want kind of a streamlined version of why you should be vegan, Gary Yourofsky I think is the best person to watch. This would be my first time doing activism. I just thought I would get into it. I just moved to New York recently, so I thought it would be good to dip my toes into some activism since I've just been vegan, wanted to do a little bit more. There's so many good movies. I think Earthlings is the one that inspired me the most, for sure. But early on, when I first became vegetarian, Food Inc. was really good to watch too, if you want to look at the animal cruelty within animal agriculture.
I've been vegan for just about a year, and my journey started in college when I was exposed to the environmental impacts of animal agriculture. And as someone who considered myself to be an environmentalist at the time, I started to realize that I was becoming a bit of a hypocrite by contributing to something that was so destructive to the environment while claiming to be an environmentalist. And after that, I learned about all of the catastrophic health impacts that you get from eating the bodies of dead beings. And then I learned about why it's so unethical and immoral to treat these living beings as something as just profit and food. And I also realized a few months after going vegan at the end of last year that just my own choices aren't enough to make a difference in the world, and I have to try and convey this idea to other people, because especially when I've learned how it takes so much undercover investigation to uncover animal agriculture, and so many people are just not exposed enough to it. And so it feels like a moral imperative or an obligation to get out and spend my time explaining to others why we need to make a change. This is the Vegan Activist Alliance, where we show footage from Dominion, which is a documentary undercover investigation from Australia from, I believe, 2018, where they got footage from various industries and the horrific acts of cruelty they do to animals. And we are talking to bystanders here in Washington Square Park about why they can make a change in their life to have more just decisions and be more compassionate towards animals.
I was born and brought up a vegetarian. I've never really tasted meat in my life ever, but there were a lot of my friends and family who transitioned to eating meat. I could never get myself to, because there was always this thing that this was once like a living thing, so I couldn't. But then as I began rescuing animals, I had tried to get a bull rescued by an animal organization back in India, and that's when I was speaking to the owner, and she informed me about, this bull would not be on the streets injured if not for dairy, and that's when I learned about the horrors of dairy. That's when I decided to go vegan. It was hard. I think for the first 2-3 years, I want to say I was 99% vegan. Like, I would see a chocolate pastry and I would be like, okay, just once. And then, I made a rule that once a month I would let myself try something that I don't normally get, like a chocolate pastry or something like that. But then over time, as I read more and more, it just didn't seem justified. And now I have been vegan for 3 years, like completely vegan. And then seeing me, my husband couldn't get himself to eat eggs or milk, so he became vegan too, and now he is with me here voicing our feelings for the animals and trying to get others to get on the same journey. So that's when there's SPCA in India, and the owner there, she kind of helped me understand. She was actually having tea with milk that time, and she was talking about how guilty she feels because India did not have any non-dairy options back then. I'm talking about 6 years back. And she was like, I literally consume just 2 spoons of milk every day and I die of guilt. And that intrigued me. I'm like, why milk? There's nothing cruel in it. We're not killing anyone. And then, she told me about the horrors of dairy. But I think it hit really hard when I was actually traveling for work to San Francisco, and there on the outskirts I was crossing through like a dairy farm, and I could hear little calves and wheelhouses crying on one side and the mother cows crying on the other side. I think that was when I was like, I can't anymore. So that probably seeing or hearing it, experiencing it firsthand it got me to take action.
I went vegan in February of 2019. I actually went at first for health because I was inspired by somebody that I watched on YouTube. And so I was eating plant-based for 2 months, and then on my newsfeed on YouTube, I came across a TED Talk, and I was scrolling on YouTube one day, and I came across this video called Every Argument Against Veganism. It was a TED Talk, and I was like, oh, I'm eating vegan. I'm interested in hearing this. And it completely changed my life. I started watching more of Earthling Ed's videos. I started learning about animal rights. I had no idea that dairy was cruel. And I was compelled immediately to start activism a couple months after that. I was just on a road trip with my boyfriend across the country. We were living in his car, and we had a few conversations with people about veganism. We went hiking and we held signs. We tried to do as much outreach as we could.
Well, I'm vegan because I respect life, I respect the energy. I believe every single animal, it has feelings, it has their own lives, they have their own problems, and I don't want to like abuse any of all these species, because that's what we are, and we are just another species, just we're trying to get control of everything, but that's not the intelligent way. We need to change, and we need to go to another way to understand that we are all one and we are just love. That's all.